So the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships 2024 ended a few days ago, and there was massive prizes that were handed out. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Events, however, is that the coverage is so basic and we barely get to see what these prize cards are. I really believe that this has a lot to do with the fact that our prize cards are so cheap compared to other card games. So I figured let's start a series where we cover the pricing for every single year moving forward. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering all the cards, playmats, accessories, plushies that were handed out to everybody that attended as well as competed in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships 2024, and we're going to be comparing them to the year prior. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we're gonna start off right at the top, the first place winners. What these guys received was a trophy with a really cool Millennium puzzle at the top, as well as a brand new prize card called Dragon of Illumination Sanctuary Shield. In the 2024 championships, there was 4 different events and 6 of these dragons awarded. The reason I say 6 instead of 4 is because one of the events was a team one, and in that team was 3 winners. So adding them all up, you get 6 in total. Now this dragon looks incredible in my opinion. I think he looks fantastic. I like that it's a decorated blue eyes. It just looks blinged out. I think some can argue that the dragon himself is a little bit over designed. I would say, having seen him on the big playmat in the big format, I think he looks okay and I'm a huge fan of it. Now I can see their argument when it comes to the actual card itself, and that's because the cards are platinum secret rare rarity. For some reason, the prize cards that they have been handing out since like 2016, 2017 have all had this rarity, and I just don't get why Konami keeps doing this. They look so bad, they look so cheap. I can agree that this card is now over designed with like the complex dragon combined with the overly glittery secret rare pattern. But the card design itself aside, I do think that the way that it was handed out was pretty cool, and there is a little bit more nuance this year compared to last year. For this year, we have the first Rush Duel event prize card. So last year there was a Rush Duel event, I believe. The only difference is that they were given a regular TCG copy of the card. This year, however, the winner received an exclusive Rush Duel design of that exact same Dragon of Illumination. It is in the over Rush Rare rarity, so this means that the card protrudes beyond the borders and it has kind of like a shadow foil effect to the holographic. I'm not really a fan of the shadow foil effect. I always thought it kind of overwhelms the card, and again it brings it to the over design category, but I'm sure a lot of people love it because it's extremely unique. This is also going to be the first Rush Duel English text card. Since Rush Duel doesn't exist in the physical form on the North American side, we've only had it in a digital format. This is technically the first card that ever was released in the English language. But then you might be asking, if everybody else was receiving a TCG copy of the Dragon of Illumination and the Rush Duel winner received an over Rush Rare of the Dragon of Illumination, it makes his card a little bit more exclusive. If this is the case, I would say that's extremely problematic because Konami's bread and butter is the advanced format TCG, right? Like this is their cash cow. This is how they make most of their money. If they're going to make the pricing for some minor event more exclusive than their main event, it is really problematic and it will de-incentivize people to play the regular TCG because most people will want to go after the more exclusive card because that one will fetch the most in the aftermarket. And I would agree with this, except there was another change that they made this year compared to last year. So last year, the winner was able to walk off the stage with the trophy card in hand. The only thing that was mailed to them later was the actual trophy that had the name engraved onto it and then sent out 2 months later. This event is a little bit different. The winner actually walked away with nothing in hand, and both of the items are going to be sent to them later. Why would that be the case for the prize card if they are not going to give it the same treatment as the actual trophy? This makes me believe that they're going to be differentiating the TCG one, which is the advanced format version, in a certain way, like on the nameplate, and they're going to make it custom for that, and then every single event will also have that. Because there's no way that they're going to make the Rush Duel one be be a 1 of 1 card, and then the other one being 1 of 5. In terms of pricing, last year the first place prize cards sold between like 100 to 120. This year I know that the TCG one sold for around $100,000. So it sold between 90 to 100. That's the range that the seller gave me, the winner basically. Shout out by the way to Hani, Ruben, as well as Polly, who gave me all this information that I'm relaying to you guys. So for first place, it's pretty much right in line with last year. I do think that the design of the dragon this year definitely competes with the first place of last year. I mean, last year the magician looks magnificent, okay? Like, it looks amazing. Granted, the card itself is not that nice because of that cheap platinum rarity, which I'm not a fan of at all. But like, if you take a look at like the actual character, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It looks incredible. The detail is fantastic. It's a home run. I think this dragon is just as nice, but I understand why that one would fetch a little bit more just because of like the whole, I don't know. I think the card was really well designed last year. But that's pretty much the first place. Let's move on to second place. The card that was handed out is called Eltias, the Master of Duels. It's a double play on word. Eltias is Seattle backwards, which is the location of the event. And then Master of Duels is a play on word for Master Duels, which is pretty cool. I think the name is really cool, like double entendre. But I think the actual design of the card, where it's like a DJ Sona from League of Legends, I'm not really feeling it. I think the dragon is a much nicer card. And I even think that last year's Dino, I don't even remember the name of that card, looks a lot better than this year's. I'm not really a fan of Eltias. I mean, last year the Dino sold for like 35k. This year the Eltias is selling for just about that price as well, 30 to 35. But I don't think it's that nicely designed. I think it's a little too CGI for me. It doesn't have that gothic, you know, rugged Yu-Gi-Oh look, things like the Masterful Magician as well as the Dino had last year. Now for this one, there's a lot more copies out there. So when it comes to the actual card itself, you have to basically take every single event and then multiply it by 3 because the card was handed out to second, third, as well as fourth place. So overall, there's a total of 18 Eltiases in existence. But there are differences and they're not all made equal. So there are 6 Eltiases that have finalists on the nameplate. And then there's 12 Eltiases that have semi-finalists on the nameplate. The finalist one fetches a little bit more, not by a lot, believe it or not, even though like the quantity is lower. I think it's because not a lot of people care about the nameplate. It's really just about owning the card. I personally think like they should not even be including that bottom part, or at least it should be detachable, right? Very similar to how they did like 2011 prize cards and 2012, where the card is actually removable from the actual trophy. But in this case, they're not. It's basically like the card is encased in a black acrylic and then it's attached to like a lower nameplate thing. It's very exclusive only to this year and last year. We've never had that before. With that being said, there is also another difference for Eltias Rush Duel. And again, in that Rush Duel event, there is an Over Rusher as the prize card. So there's technically 3 Eltiases that are Rush Duel, and then there's 15 regular Eltiases from the TCG. So again, it makes Eltias Rush Duel a little bit more exclusive, but then you have to ask yourself, are people who are paying $35,000 to buy this exclusive card, are they going to want like a TCG card or are they going to want a Rush Duel card, which looks completely different like aesthetically? And by the way, the Rush Duel winner of Dragon of Illumination wants about $100,000 and nothing less for his Rush Duel variant of the Dragon of Illumination, since it's a 1 of 1. I think that price is justified personally. There's not really a lot of 1 of 1 cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. But that's pretty much the prize cards that were handed out. Now, last year, there was an exclusive playmat, and it was pretty much a blown up version of the Masterful Magician, aka the first place prize card. Now, that playmat was handed out to the top 16 of the event. So that means that there's 16 times 6, and that makes it pretty much less than 100 copies. That playmat right now goes for around $3,000 to $4,000. I actually found a store in Japan that had it on display, which is unbelievable. It's extremely rare and not a lot of them pop up. I highly recommend it if you collect World Championship playmats, because it's probably one of the best designed playmats I have ever seen. The magician on there is incredible. He looks totally badass, but it is $3,000, so You better have the budget for that. This year, however, they did not get any exclusive playmats. There is a dragon as well as an Altius playmat, but that was handed out to pretty much everybody there. The playmat is fetching around $1,000 in the aftermarket, at least the Dragon of Illumination one, and then the Altius one is around like $300-400. I highly recommend the Dragon one because what's actually really cool about that is that they didn't do it like how they did like the regular playmat. It looks not finished on the sides. This is an official playmat, by the way. Basically, the Dragon of Illumination, the ending is just a lot more polished. It has like, I don't know what to call it, man. It looks better. It looks more well done. It looks a little bit better finished, and I highly recommend that. I think it looks fantastic, and it looks way better than the prize card itself. That one is nowhere near as exclusive as last year's first place playmat, so I would definitely proceed with caution when it comes to like spending a lot of money on it. There was a lot of influencers, judges, as well as attendees for the World Championships, so I would probably say it's not really worth more than like $800-900. The Altius one I wouldn't even pick up personally, but if you do like it, I'll probably stick around the $200 to $300 range. I wouldn't pay more than that. There was another playmat that was handed out, but it's not really a playmat. It's more like an actual like desk mat because it's much bigger, much wider. That one has like the Duel Links, Master Duel, like it basically has the 3 events on there. I don't think that one looks good at all. Like none of the monsters have any sort of cohesion. The art style is completely different on each of them. I'm not really a fan, but if you like it, you can pick that one up for around like the $200 to $300 as well. All 3 of these playmats were handed out to everybody that attended, so there's plenty of them to go around. Some other stuff that was handed out is a Rescue Rabbit plushie, which was supposedly a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but they tossed that out the window. Now everybody gets a Rescue Rabbit. And then there was a Time Wizard plushie. That one looked much worse than the Rescue Rabbit. The Rescue Rabbit was much better done. It looked a lot more premium compared to a Time Wizard, which looked really cheap. You get like a deck box, some sleeves, a red and a blue one like always. And then last but not least, you get the World Championship 2024 envelope. It seems like every single year that passes, they just keep producing more and more of these envelopes. So like in 2017, which was the best year in my opinion, they had like the Ghost Share Dark Magician Girl, and that was limited to 2,500. The year after that was limited to 10,000. The year after that, we don't even know. The year after that, we pretty much skip a bunch for COVID, and we hit like 2023, which was limited to 5,000 copies, and then 2024 it was pretty much free for all, and they gave it to everybody. This envelope has Swords of Revealing Light as well as Doom Calibur Knight in QCR, but what's really cool is that these QCRs are what's called Japanese Asian cardstock, so they are not printed in Japan, they're actually printed in Korea. They look just amazing. Everybody that's seen them in the TCG who's uncultured to Asian English quarter century secret rares are blown away by the quality of them. The best way I can describe them is they look very similar to the Pot of Greed that came from the Pot collection. Or if you own the Blue Eyes with the planet in the back from the Kaiba briefcase, if you own those 2 cards, this is pretty much as close as you're gonna get to how those cards look. And if you've seen those other ones, you know how nice they are, right? Like they look just incredible, way more high definition, way more crispy compared to the TCG QCRs, which look really, really cheap in my opinion. Now, if you like these cards, what you can do is wait a little bit until the mid-season where they actually start handing out the first and second place prize cards as ultra rares on the Japanese side. You'll be able to pick them up for around like $100-200. They're extremely cheap for what they are. I think that they're amazing promos. I mean, I'm sure you've seen other people collect the past ones. I think they make for an amazing collection, as well as if you're on a budget, I mean, you can pick up one of these for like $100-200 every month, and it will look amazing on a binder. It will look amazing on a shelf. I have the Masterful Magician right here, which was the first place from last year, and let me tell you, the quality on these is amazing. Like these are printed in Japan, but they're TCG cards. Like what more could you ask for, right? It's the perfect combination. I highly recommend the Masterful Magician. Like if you just want to take a look at this artwork, if you want to own this artwork, cannot recommend it enough. enough. I think this goes for around like 150 bucks. I'm selling them on my website for 165. I have like 2 left, I think, or something like that. You can check it out there, and you can look out for the Dragon of Illumination as well as Eltias to be on my website as soon as they come out in Japan. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts, as well as if you want me to continue this series next year where I cover all the pricing and stuff like that. I just think that these events are not covered from like a collector perspective as much as they should be. I mean, Pokemon, all they do is cover prize cards. We don't really do enough of that here, so I figured I would start. Let me know if I missed anything or what your thoughts are on these prizes. Do you think that they're doing a good enough job, or do you think they have to do something more? Like the video, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And if you want to support me further, you can shop at strictlysealed.com. Join me on Patreon, where you're going to be able to join the exclusive part of my Discord and see every single sale that happens in the day, so you can keep up with the market. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.